But Women and Men Against Child Abuse is calling for a harsh sentence against a former creche employee convicted for abusing 3 children aged 4. Nellie Senwametsi is due to be sentenced tomorrow. She was shown beating toddlers in 3 separate videos that went viral on social media last year. You may have seen that, and it probably left the same feeling in your stomach as it did mine. Well, let's discuss this now with Luke Lamprecht. He's from Women and Men Against Child Abuse. Luke, a very good morning. Thanks so much for your time. And I really wish we'd been talking about something else, but this is the reality of where we are. And I'm sure that this has, struck so much fear and terror in most parents who have no other option but to leave their children in the care of, and I'm not saying everyone is like this, but there are women like this among those who say that they're there to care for our children.
Vivek, it is completely devastating, and the big thing that Women and Men Against Child Abuse are trying to highlight with the sentence is children of this age, and children under 5, are at extreme risk, because if we didn't have the videos in this case, these children couldn't have testified in the matter. We're going back for sentencing tomorrow, and victim impact reports cannot be got from the children because of their lack of verbal ability to give viva voce evidence before the court. So the massive vulnerability within these contexts really does highlight kind of the fact that we need to be thinking very carefully about how we place our children in any form of care and the people who are providing that care.
And look, the reality of South Africa, and I'm sure many other countries around the world, is that people have to go to work. A majority of them cannot afford to have somebody come to their house, be a nanny, and take care of their kids exclusively. So some are forced to go to places, often places that are quite cheap, often places that are unregistered. So what are the cautions here as to, how do you check out whether a place is actually a good place or a safe place to put your child? How do you check out whether the people they've employed are people who are able to take care of your child properly and aren't the likes of this woman?
I think the first thing that parents must check out is the fact that the place that they put their child is registered. There are health regulations, there are regulations in terms of early childhood development centres and what needs to be present. So parents must say, are you at least registered with an authority? Because that would be the first step in ensuring that the people running the facilities are thinking about the good care of children. As you say, a lot of these places, particularly the ones that are more affordable, they very often employ people who are not trained professionally and certainly not supervised adequately. The second element of it would really be about the fact that parents need to pay a lot of attention to their children and to even small things. While children do fall and they do bump themselves and children have changes in mood, we need to be very aware that when your child comes back from any other place that they've been in care, whether it's family or early childhood development centres, that you need to be saying to the child, how was your day? Did anything significant happen? How is Auntie Nellie? Just very general questions that give the child the opportunity to kind of have a voice within the context of the home, and to constantly ask that. Because if you ask open-ended questions to your children, you're not leading them in by like, did somebody hurt you? Did something happen? You want to say, how was your day? What happened at school today? So it relies an enormous amount on parents being present and being able to communicate effectively with their children and creating a language for the fact that things can be great at creche, but you also can be unhappy. And what are those things that cause you unhappiness? And then manage those accordingly.
Well, look, I'm going to play devil's advocate here because, yes, while many of us may want this woman to face the worst punishment possible, there are others who might go, what has happened in her life to have made her react to children like this? Do we become sympathetic? Do we continue that? Because we have been over the past couple of years. We look at the attackers, we look at the perpetrators and go, what has happened to you to make you treat somebody else like this? Are we still there? Are we still on that same line of thinking? Or do we say, you know enough how to treat another human being, you must now pay?
So there's a few things to consider there, Vivek. So as not to not have empathy, it's about the fact that we need to consider the context. So the first element of the context is not that we're calling for a harsh sentence. We are calling for the state to not deviate from the prescribed sentence. So the prescribed sentence for assault with the intention to do grievous bodily harm is 10 years, and we expect that sentence to be given. So that is the expectation under the law, and if you commit that crime, that's what you can expect. The mitigation you are talking about for me is aggravated aggravated by the fact that she did it more than once. She did it repeatedly over a period of time. And in one of the videos, you actually see her sort of slapping the child with all her might. And then she walks away, almost thinks about it, comes back and continues doing it. So this is not a person who had some kind of explosive rage episode where she was enormously stressed and it triggered something in her past. This is something that had a massive pattern of behavior. It lasted over a period of time, and the severity seemed to increase. So notwithstanding the fact that she may have had a complicated life, the fact that no one distributed that video for a period of time of up to about a year, and they kept it almost as a form of entertainment, it seems, or a way to have a hold over the creche owner. The fact that they kept it a secret, that means they knew it was wrong. They did not go and say, oh, look at this, this is what happened at Creche today. It was something that was kept secret because they knew that behavior was wrong.
All right, Luke Lamprecht, we'll have to wait and see what happens. And yes, we cannot continue to excuse such behavior. I mean, when you see a child crying, how do you continue, hitting that child and attacking them the way she did? Thanks very much for your time. We'll keep an eye on that case. Let's look at some news from